Hello guys, this is going to be a sort of a recap of what we did on Friday. There were a number of kids that were out, and it's just good review probably for those who are not. So we started off our class on Friday with a little sort of get your brain going. We had a guided tour at the hotel. You started at the hotel, and then you had to try to include all of the attractions in the city, but you could not revisit an attraction, and you had to cover all the attractions. You had to start at the hotel, and you had to end at the hotel. So the kids in the class came up with their answers, and then they wrote them down on their recording sheet. And most of the groups came up with the same route, but some of them, well, I think one of them didn't. I think we only had like 5 groups. And so one of them didn't. But if you wanted to try to do it, you could just pause the video and, see if you can work out a path that includes all of the attractions, doesn't revisit anything, starts at the hotel and ends at the hotel. So, after they did that, we then took those concepts of tour and attraction and we modeled some objects. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to look at the object tour. And we are going to remember that an object is like a noun, and in this case it's a tour, and some of the adjectives or the things that describe that tour are the stops. So we would put in our attribute section stops, and this would be a list, and it's specifically a list of attractions, and we can show that by putting the parentheses with attractions to show that this is a list of attractions. Another thing that a tour might have or might describe a tour is the number of, we'll do this one, number of guides. So the number of tour guides that are taking people around on a particular tour. So this would be a number. Some tours that are busier or bigger tours might have more tour guides than a small tour or a personal tour, private tour. It could also have the distance covered. So how many miles are covered on this particular tour? That is a number. The maximum number of people could be another thing that is describing this particular tour. Some tours might have 6 people as a maximum if it was a small private tour. Some tours might have 50 people as a maximum. So it just depends on the tour. So, but again, we're defining a generic tour, and so max people could be something that we're defining, and that would be a number. Another thing could be duration. So how long does the tour take? That could be also a number. Cost could be another descriptor or attribute or adjective describing our tour here. And that would also be a number. What time does it start? Could be another one, and we are going to say that that is a particular time because you wouldn't say necessarily just a number. So, one thing that we are introducing today, actually let me get into that in just a minute. Let's start with our, let's go next into our attraction object. So again, we are going to work on an object, and we are going to say that this object is the object attraction. So in our exercise that we did at the beginning of class, the tour visited every attraction in the city. So in this case, we have attractions, and any given attraction could have a name. So those are descriptors. They describe, they're adjectives for our noun, which is attraction, so name, and that would be a string value. Now remember, a string is just a bunch of characters in a row. So you can kind of think of like beads on a string make a necklace, characters strung together make words, phrases, paragraphs, any kind of text is what you're talking about. A number can be a text also, like an address is, even though it has numbers in it, it's not a number in the sense that you would do math with it. It's a number in the sense of just another way to give a particular house a name. So that brings me to our next attribute, which would be address. So address would also be a string. Again, because you're not going to do math, you don't say I live at 12. You would say I live at 12 Main Street. So it's part of a label. It's part of text, even though it may have some numbers in it. You could do the type of attraction. Also, that would be a string. It would just be text telling you the type. It could also have a description. So it could, this one would probably be a very long string because it might even be an entire paragraph. So these are our adjectives that are describing our nouns. So we have placeholders for values that describe a specific tour. This has placeholders for values that describe a particular attraction. So you're giving sort of the formula for what it means to be a tour and what it means to be an attraction here. And so that's with our objects and our attributes. Now we're going to add one more piece to the equation here. And we're going to add what we call methods. So here we have nouns and here we have adjectives. Now, it's great that we have very well defined nouns, but the nouns, in order for them to be interesting, need to do something. So we have verbs, and the verbs are going to be methods. Those are the things that an object knows how to do. So for a tour might know how to entertain. It doesn't have to be something as explicitly obvious as entertain. You could say is open. It could be a state of being verb. So is the tour open or is it closed? We could do sell souvenir. The tour could sell you a souvenir. So those are some options for verbs. There are lots of options for verbs here. We just picked a few for examples, but remember that methods, M-E-T-H-O-D-S, methods here. You know what? We'll just do this. We will, because this is how I like to do it. This is the section for methods, and here we go. This is the section for attributes. this is the section for the object name. So it's pretty easy to remember once you kind of get the hang of things. These are just sort of the different sections in the big rectangle. And this is just an easy way to define what an object is. So again, an object has the name of the object, which is like the noun. It's the thing that you're describing. It has a list of attributes, which are like adjectives, and it has a list of methods, which are like verbs. Okay? Now, on attraction, we also came up with some verbs that you could have for a particular attraction. So a particular attraction, oh, you know what? I totally did this wrong. I'm such a goob sometimes. Okay, so these were actually supposed to be over here. See, this is what I get for doing this so late at night. Okay, so a particular attraction could entertain you. It could be open. You could check to see, is it open? Or it could sell you a souvenir. Now, the tour, we said, could start the tour. It could educate about a particular attraction. Again, if we want something specific, we put it in parentheses, okay? The tour could stop. The tour could assign a guide. We could check to see, is the tour full? And again, this one, is the tour full, would be a state of being. You know, what is the state of this object? Is it full? Is it not full? You could also go so far as to say, has it started? Has the tour started? Yes or no? Those are all things that you could do for the methods. So your homework this week gives you the rectangles that we're going to use, the models that we're going to use to define an object. That's what we're doing. We are defining objects. It's going to give you the name. It's going to give you some attributes, and it gives you one method, and then you're supposed to fill in more methods. So on the paper, you just print it out as it is. If you don't have a hard copy, print it out. Right on there, I'm looking for additional methods, additional verbs, things it could do. Okay? So that is the new concept that we covered in class. And then we took a look at Eclipse. So I would launch Eclipse. In this case, my icon is here. I would double click. It would launch. It would prompt me for my default workspace, and I would pick the MMCRFT Forge Eclipse folder. So I'm not going to do all that on here because it kind of takes a while and that eats up time. But once you have it open, I wanted to go over some of the things on in Eclipse to help you become familiar. It's very important that you become at least somewhat familiar with Eclipse. And so the first thing to note is this line up here where it has the little icon, the little circle with the lines. It says Java, and it has, you know, some stuff. Or it may just say Java Mars, Eclipse Mars or something up here. That's the title bar. The menu bar is here. It has all of your menus. Your file menu, your edit menu, your source menu, your refactor menu. All of these are menus, and these are menu items. And so if I were to say go to the file menu, you would go here. That's the file menu. If I would say go to your window menu, you would go here. If I said go to your project menu, you would go here. Okay? Now then, this section here is the toolbar. It just contains quick links, a little button that does something that's frequently wanting to be done. The main button that we are interested in at this point in time is this button right here, and it is the run button. Run, execute, load. Those are all sort of words that mean run your program. And this little play button is the button that you're interested in doing that. We'll learn about some of the other buttons at different points, but right now we're only concerned with the play button. So then you have over here this Package Explorer, and I'm going to just minimize all this for a minute, although I want to actually go back and do this so that we can sort of get into it one at a time. Okay, this is our Package Explorer window, and I'm going to close this. This is our editor window. Oh, I want you to go back here. Okay, so this is our editor window, and this is our Package Explorer window. So the first thing you should see in your Package Explorer is a blue folder with a J. That means it is a Java project. There are other kinds of projects that you can have in Eclipse. We are only concerned with Java projects. So you should see a blue folder with a J. That means it's a Java project. This happens to be named Minecraft. This is the Minecraft Java project. Now, if you click on the little arrow beside that, you will see a whole list of other things. Inside this project, there are a number of things. There are files, there are folders, there are these little folders here, which look like they have, as the students in class said on Friday, waffles in them. So we're going to call these our waffle folders. Now, inside the waffle folders, you will see you have another waffle. Now, the waffle folders just mean that inside this is a grouping of waffles. In this case, we have a group of 1. And the waffles are actually packages. And so you can think of packages as just a way to organize things. So for example, this package is com.example.examplemod, but we may want another package that is com.example.examplemod.helpers if we have helper classes for this particular example mod. So it's just for organization and to help you figure out. You might end up with 2 classes that are actually named the same thing, but they're part of different packages. They sort of belong to a different logical unit. So this is for organization purposes. So this was the default example that came with Minecraft Forge. So we're just going to look at it in detail here. So underneath your package, you have a Java file. So that's what this little, it looks like a file with a J on it, is a Java file. And so this contains your source code. This contains the Java code that is executed by Minecraft. So if we expand the Java file, we will see some other stuff. Now let's just double click on the example.mod.java and it will show up after you double click in the editor window. It opens the file from the file system and it shows you what's inside. Now if we look here at the very first line, we will see package com.example.examplemod. Hey, that's our waffle. That's our waffle right here. Is right here. So this waffle is specified, this package is specified within the Java file itself. Then you have some import statements, which we're not going to worry about just yet. So in here you will see public class example mod. So, well, this is interesting because this actually is over here. And if you double click on it, it will highlight in your editor window. So let's just click down here so that it will stop doing the highlighting, and then maybe it will, you'll get to see. Why is this not working? Oh well. The this C here stands for class, and so you can see this word class, and the class is example mod. A class is the definition for an object. So before we were doing the modeling, like over here we did the modeling. If we were going to take this and translate it into Java code, it's going to look like this. It's going to be a class. So if we took this particular example mod.java, and if we created a class for it, I mean a model for it. Let's see, can I make this thing bigger? Let's see if I can. Okay, that should be good enough. Okay, so let's take our little, I'm going to be lazy and just copy this other stuff because I don't want to have to redo it. So example mod would go here. Now the example mod has a couple of attributes. It has mod ID and version. So if you look under this class example mod, this is like the name, this is like the object name, example mod. Under that we have mod ID and version, and look, you can see they're both of type string. So if we go back over here we could say mod ID, and it's of type string. And what was our other one? It was version, and it was of type, whoops, left my caps lock on. It was of type string. So here you have your mod ID, and again, if you click over here in the left in the Package Explorer, it will highlight over in the editor where it was defined, so, or declared. So basically what we're saying here is, hey, we have an attribute called mod ID. And up here you're saying, hey, we have an object called example mod. So now this is the noun. These are the adjectives, the mod ID, the version number. Then we also have this init. And you can see over here where it's defined, where it's declared. And this is a method. This is a verb. And so we're going to say over here that this example mod has a method called init. Now, so if we took this model here and we translated it to Java code, we would get this. So inside of this init block, this method, this verb, is what we want to do when we initialize Minecraft. Now, this is not doing anything spectacular at all. It's just printing out the text, dirt block, arrow, and then the unlocalized name of a block of dirt. So that is what that is doing. So when you see the green dot over here and you see something with parentheses, then you know that that is a method. Notice how these don't have parentheses. They are not methods. They don't do anything. They are placeholders for a value. In this case, the value is example mod for mod ID, and this holds the value 1.0. Okay. Now then, one thing I also would like to point out is comments. This, at the beginning of a line, is a single line comment. Now, be careful that you don't try to add a single line comment in front of your code. This is what will happen. Where did all my code go? It's now a comment. You cannot add a single line comment at the beginning of your code. It has to be on its own line, or you can add it at the end. Okay? Now that's a single line comment. I think it's good for you to practice a single line comment and make sure that you can add it without messing up other parts of your code. Now, another thing that's important to know is for a multiple line comment. That means if you have like a lot of detail you want to add, you're going to put it in a multiple line comment. So you're going to start off with a slash and an asterisk, and you are going to, don't worry about all the red stuff that just popped up and kind of went crazy. You can either start typing stuff here, and then it will fill in for you because Eclipse is an IDE, it's an integrated development environment. It's going to handle a lot of stuff for you, which is why we're using it. So if you hit enter, it's going to fill in the rest of that value for you. It knows it's a multi-line comment, so it's assuming that you're going to want more than one line. So it's gone ahead and filled in a couple lines for you. Now, you can continue typing stuff here, but anything here is code. Why? Because your comment ends here. Remember, when we open, we need to close. In this case, to open a comment, you start with a slash, and then you do an asterisk, and then to close it, you do an asterisk, and then a slash. Once that slash is put in, the comment is done. It's over. Anything else that's added after that comment is code. So the compiler is complaining here. It doesn't know what but means. It doesn't know what here is. It doesn't know what is. It doesn't know what the exclamation point is doing there. It's very confused and it's very unhappy. So we'll just delete that and it will just be a happy little camper again. So anyway, that is our single line and multi-line comment. That is our Eclipse tutorial for this particular go round. Again, Package Explorer, the editor window, the class. A class is a definition for an object. You take this, look, this has 1, 2, 3, 4 things in it, and if you come over here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 things over here. This is how you model an object. This is how you define it in Java. Okay? You use a class to define it in Java. So, I hope that answers some questions and gets some people up to speed. And I will post this along with a link to the homework. I will also be available to answer questions if you have any questions. Don't forget, you have homework that is due Friday. This homework that is going to be connected to this is due on Friday in class. If you're not going to make class, you need to go ahead and either email me your homework or turn it in via Dropbox. I prefer Dropbox, but if you need to email it because you haven't set Dropbox up yet, you can. So I will see you Friday.